Madara Uchiha, the self-proclaimed strongest being of the ninja world, has ever faced, and the second Sage of Six Paths, a rival to none other but Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage, and Sosuke Aizen, the big-brain antagonist of Bleach, who gained not only transcendent power over those around him, but became a godly being and antagonist, able to push Ichigo Kurosaki to his limit. But who would truly win in a battle between them? Aizen or Madara? Listen and pay attention to more of the things I say and why I state them instead of the winner of the overall versus battle. Also, if you could do me a favor and subscribe, as it would be greatly appreciated, as I am on a road to 10,000 subscribers, and it would be a lot and it would be greatly appreciated. And finally, but most importantly, enjoy. Prior to the First Great Ninja War, Madara and Hashirama would fight numerous upon numerous of times. During these fights, however, Madara was able to subdue the likes of the full Nine Tails. The reason why this would be an impressive feat is due to the fact that the Nine Tails within the first data book is stated to have power that could turn the world to ash, and again within the fourth data book to have earth-shattering power. Both of these statements are made whilst Kurama only have half of his original power as well, meaning Kurama in actuality is over 2 times as powerful as what these statements indicate and or convey. Madara would then die and then would then revive and achieve the likes of the Sage of Six Paths transformation and achieve both Rinnegan. The Sage of Six Paths transformation being stated to blatantly surpass the prior KCM2 placebo transformation Naruto had used prior against numerous of times against people like Ten Tails Obito, meaning Madara at this point in time would be in these large planetary ranges of power beyond popular belief. This same Ten Tails Madara had absorbed was able to dog walk the planetary threat, both the 8 and 9 Tails, like chew toys in comparison to slapping them away at the same time. Madara would then absorb the God Tree. The God Tree is able to absorb chakra from everyone on Earth, such as people like Hashirama, Naruto, and finally the Biju themselves, and he would then get an exponential amp able to rival that of a Rinnegan and Sage of Six Paths Naruto and Sasuke. Madara during the said fight would then drop several Tengai Shinsei that dwarfed the size of Nagato's prior Chibaku Tensei used in the Pain arc. This same Chibaku Tensei was calced to continental levels of power, and Madara was able to drop multiple of these continental asteroids right on the battlefield. Madara would then go on to achieve his final Rinnegan, in addition the Rinne Sharingan, and cast the infinite Tsukuyomi on the rest of the Shinobi world. Beyond popular belief, however, Madara would actually be in the large planetary ranges of power as we know, because the spatial curvature of Earth went to a 10 to a 16 due to Naruto's and Kurama's sheer and massive amounts of chakra capable of causing tears through almost the entirety of the universe, with Kinshiki saying that Kaguya's region, aka Earth, has gotten more out of hand and that it's hard to find due to the many aforementioned tears in the universe. As for speed, however, Madara, even prior to having any Rinnegan or even a sliver of power from the Ten Tails, is able to effortlessly react to KCM2 Naruto. This KCM2 Naruto was obviously faster than KCM1, with KCM1 being able to react to and dodge the Raikage's fastest punch. Within the data books, it's stated that the Raikage within its V1 transformation is near the speed of light, meaning within its V2 transformation, by proxy, it should logically reach or even surpass those speeds. Even Daru's water circuit is stated to move at light speed, even all back within the 5 Kage summit, with a Mangekyo Sharingan Sasuke who was fatigued, able to react using his Susanoo. Finally, Madara is able to use the Sage Art Light Fang. The Light Fang is stated to bisect the enemy like a sharp-pointed fang, hitting the target with the speed of light, making it impossible for the enemy to evade. With this being said, this will be very consistent that Madara, even before his Ten Tails amp and or transformation, is massively faster than light and would just get faster once absorbing the Ten Tails. This level of speed isn't even inconsistent, as the databooks denote that Haku could possibly move as fast as light itself through his ice mirrors while weakened and beating, fighting against the likes of Team 7 and a suppressed weakened Kakashi. To get out of this now, Madara can not only see but interact with Aizen. Madara has the ability to use the Limbo clones, in which within the databooks is stated to be on a higher dimensional existence than that of the basic dimension. This would also be the reason why Naruto needed to sense the clones instead of visually perceiving them, and why Sasuke could actually see them. However, this was due to the fact that he got Sage of Six Path Chakra as he acquired it from Hagoromo Otsutsuki during the late war. As for hacks, however, Madara has the ability of passive regeneration and the True Secret Orbs. The True Secret Orbs are able to attack at a spiritual level and are durability negation, as seen by Jubito when he hits Minato with them and cuts his arm off. Madara could also regenerate half of his entire body, being severed from the lower half of his body, and survive, and even regenerate from a night guy that was stated to bend space via his sheer body mass and speed alone, and with the human path being able to take out souls and gather information from said person while doing it. He can also summon the King of Hell and passively reconstruct his body and or any missing limb, and he would lose during the fight. However, his basic regeneration gained from the Jubi would be enough and would probably overcome what the Predator Path and Human Path can do. But what about Aizen? How would he fare in a match against Madara Uchiha? Now, there are many ways to go about scaling Aizen. However, I find the most consistent way to scale that of Aizen is through the Soul Society, Dangai, Thousand Year Blood War Arc, Yamamoto, as well as Yuha. Aizen, after absorbing that of the Sogyoku, was able to scale above that of Ukiura and the rest of the Espada. For some context, the Espada are forbidden from releasing under the canopy of Las Noches due to being able to destroy it with things such as a simple Cero. Keep in mind that not only is the interior of Las Noches bigger than the exterior, but Las Noches itself is stated to have created a artificial sun within it to illuminate all of Las Noches, with it even having a day and night cycle present within it. This would be consistent, seeing how things such as the Soul Society being stated to have numerous stars within it, and by proxy, as the world of living being a parallel to the Soul Society, it would also have stars within it as well. This would mean that Aizen at a low ball is star level, and at a consistent basis and scaling solar system level via the Ukiura scaling I mentioned prior. This is the same second resurrection on Ukiura that works as a makeshift Bankai, giving Ukiura a 100 times multiplier as stated by Kisuke Urahara. Keep in mind, Mugetsu Ichigo was stated in the data books to being the strongest thing and or being in the series within that point in time, which would include both the weakened and non-weakened Yamamoto, and I'll explain why this is important later. Keep in mind, Monster Aizen was scaled above this, as it was not only implied that he was going to evolve and transcend, but the final Getsuga Tensho couldn't even one-shot Aizen. Furthermore, this same Aizen is above any version of Yamamoto, even that of the one who fought in the war, who threatened the existence of the Soul Society. Again, this realm is shown to be multi-galactic in size in the novels, and to have full day and night cycles as seen in both the anime and manga continuities of the series. During the war arc, Gremmy, the self-proclaimed strongest Stern Ritter, was able to create that of a galaxy using his Shrift. For those who deny this and downplay it, Bleach's Gremmy's entire ability is able to visualize and materialize said visualizations, or as Gremmy says, turn imagination into reality. Aizen would obviously scale above this, as a Bankai Kenpachi does scale below that of this version of Muken Aizen from the war arc that fought against and alongside Ichigo against Yuha. So yes, it would be consistent that yes, Aizen is in fact bare minimum galaxy level in the early war arc, and there's nothing stopping this and or contradicting or disproved it. It also is stated that Aizen by Yuha struggled with full power True Horn of Salvation Bankai Ichigo more than he anticipated, and Yuha doesn't even try to refute this and implies that he agrees. And yes, this is true, seeing how a Grand Ray Zero mixed with the Gensuga Tensho is able to damage the likes of Yuha, who more or less scales above the entirety of the verse, even up to that of the Hell Saga, where vestiges of Yuha's power was still remaining up against the likes of Ichigo's son, was able to destroy and or absorb the last vestiges of Yuha's power. It's also stated that in the Can't Fear Your Own light novels, which are canon, that Yuha did in fact lose to not only Ichigo, but Aizen as well, and that Ichigo was strong enough to serve as the Soul King and hold together the three worlds altogether due to his sheer Ryatsu alone. And as it's stated countless times within the series and even shown, conveyed, and portrayed, that Aizen does have more spiritual pressure and or Ryatsu than Ichigo, so he should logically scale to this. It's not only stated once but twice, meaning he would be relative to that of Yuha if you take this into account, meaning he would scale above the likes of Ichibei Hiyosube, which in the same Can't Feel Your Own Light novel is comparable to that of the Gotake 13 as a whole, including a Prime Yamamoto, who is in fact starred a solar system level as well, as it stated within the Hell arc that Yuha did in fact lose to Aizen and Ichigo, implying that Ichigo would have in fact lost alone in the fight against Yuha if it wasn't for Aizen's intervention and help via Kyoka Sugetsu. However, within the first movie's Memory of Nobody, the Kyogoku is stated to be a hyperspace by numerous definitions such as Britannia and Oxford, being a dimension or realm with more than 3 dimensions. This would mean that regardless of the spatial or temporality of the dimension, the Kyogoku would have to be 4D or 4th dimensional in dimensionality. Ichigo is not only able to destroy and or exist in this realm completely, which would make him 4D Universal Plus as well. For those questioning the validity and canonicity of the movie, it was stated within the manga to be extrapolated within the movie, but stated yes again within the Bleach Can't Feel Your Own Light novel that yes, it is in fact canon. There are some debunks to Bleach's universal scaling, so I'll leave it up to your interpretation on if they are or aren't universal. However, I do think some arguments, such as the Kyogoku argument, is as somewhat reliable when it comes to scaling. However, when it comes to things such as the Mugen being infinite, is where the cracks when it comes to Bleach's universal scaling starts to show. In my honest opinion, there are better arguments for Universal Ichigo, Aizen, and Bleach, or Bleach in general, as things like the Dangai and Mugen aren't really sufficient, as the Mugen being infinite is directly contradicted by the light novel and the manga statement, as it's stated to be near infinite, and if you would like to use the original Japanese kanji where it actually says infinite, but within a fictional setting or sense, is mostly due in part to it being vastly large, as opposed to truly being infinite. However, this isn't always the case. In the case of the Dangai, however, being completely separate from space and time, we know this is the case, seeing how Ishin directly gives a time quantification, and it's also stated to be surrounded and affected by torrents of space and time. Ichigo also begins to feel the duration of time he spent within the Dangai when he does enter Karakura Town, meaning yes, he is still affected by time. However, the Dangai has a different or alternate time flow than what Ichigo is used to, which is what not only is conveyed, but portrayed via Ichigo's growth of hair and his older physique and appearance. The databook statements for the Mugen also delude you into thinking that the Mugen is infinite. However, it's not and truly couldn't be, since it's stated to be a part of the Soul Society, which we know there is a size quantification for, meaning the Mugen being infinite wouldn't make any sense in actuality, and people like to wank Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece to fit their own personal biases and narrative. I've seen multiple times in my comment section that because the Mugen is called infinite, it is therefore infinite, which is just an overall name fallacy. However, this is not the case, as I've been saying, and even if it was the case, this wouldn't make sense, as if it was to be used in its pragmatic sense, it does not just become infinite. Because the Mugen is stated infinite, again, it doesn't mean it's infinite, and I don't know how many times I have to keep on saying it. As I've said, it's directly stated that it deludes you into thinking it's infinite due to its sheer size, as I said prior, and within the Can't Feel Your Own Light novels, with it saying, and I quote, "Covered by infinite shadows on a jet black floor, multiple barriers had been set up to prevent even the faintest of light from reacting or reaching the underground jail." End quote. People oftentimes try to use this scan and or argument to prove that the Mugen is infinite. However, all it's saying is that due to the barriers that the Mugen has, that the Mugen is pitch black, it is entirely covered by shadows. Let me give you an example. If I were to cover my room with curtains and my room is now pitch black, does that then mean that my room has infinite shadows and is therefore infinite in size? No, right? And as you could see, the Mugen arguments aren't as consistent when it comes to Bleach. It truly comes from biased fans trying to wank their favorite series. In all honesty, this series could literally just be called Wank from viewers and I'd be totally fine with it. But what about Kyoka Sugetsu? Before I go into how Madara would even react to Kyoka Sugetsu in terms of resistance and combat, I first have to explain what Kyoka Sugetsu is, because people oftentimes try to either wank it, as I've been saying, or downplay it in order to fit their own notion and narrative. Kyoka Suigetsu is the ability to not only alter but control all 5 senses, as well as the 6th sense also Reapers use. This is different than the base and or regular illusions, as this is explained against the fight with Shinji, as Kyoka Suigetsu might manipulate the senses on a spiritual and non-physical immaterial level, as that might actually be the reason why the only way to resist Kyoka Suigetsu is either that much being stronger than Aizen to the point where it wouldn't really matter, like Ichigo or Yuha, or by Aizen deactivating said ability, as Aizen's Shikai was even so powerful that it worked on Yuha. Keep in mind, Yuha has the ability known as the Almighty. As Yuha says himself, the Almighty is not just the ability to see into the future, but alter it and change it. And Yuha couldn't even see through Kyoka Suigetsu, and it wasn't even consciously aware that he was under the effects of it. Meaning, if I were to lowball that of Aizen to large planetary like Madara, Madara wouldn't even be able to truly perceive that of Aizen actually, and at best, maybe his limbo clones could fight, however, only if you think Kyoka Suigetsu doesn't operate on a spiritual level, which is truly hard to argue against, seeing how these are literal death gods known as Shinigami. But Tempest, what about speed? How fast is Aizen, and would Madara speed blitz? Well, a lot of Aizen's speed feats do scale off of other characters such as Ichigo. In the late parts of the Soul Society arc, in the data books, it's directly stated that Ichigo's Bankai makes him move at lightning speeds against Byakuya. This would be consistent, seeing how Ichigo's Bankai power-up is shown to increase more of speed than any other stat, which is shown within flash stepping against Byakuya, and speed blitzing the aforementioned Byakuya, which he couldn't do prior in his Shikai or base form. Ichigo is then able to react and effortlessly dodge the Nagashion, which is stated to be a beam of light that transports hollows back to Wako Mundo, just like the Australian light that the, Quincy's use. Later on in Wako Mundo, Ichigo is able to dodge the Zero. The Zero again in the databook is an extrapolation that is stated to be a beam of light which Ichigo is again effortlessly able to dodge. Even with Ukiura's Lanzada Relampago, which is stated to be potentially 100 times that of above the base Zero via the aforementioned second resurrection scaling I provided prior with Ukiura and Kisuke. Even prior espada such as Arenguero is stated to dodge sunlight early on within the Arankar arc against Rukia, and she's able to match his speed and later on overpower and beat him. I've heard that Ichigo might have inaccessible speed due to him being in the Dangai, but like I said prior, it's stated to be separate from space and time. But not only is it just talking about separate from the world of the living and Soul Society space and time, but as I said prior, the Dangai is still being able to being affected by torrents of space and time. In my personal opinion, Aizen and Madara are pretty equal when it comes to speed, if not Aizen having the slight edge due to multipliers like Bankai, Shikai, and even things such as Ukiura's Lanzera Relampago, Resurrection 1, and obviously the second Resurrection, and the Sogyoku, Hogyoku, and things of that nature. But Tempest, who truly wins, Madara or Aizen? Well, with the Kyoka Suigetsu being able to fondle the senses and cognition of Madara and being leagues upon leagues of time stronger, Aizen would curve stomp. I hope this also ends the debate between Kyoka Suigetsu and Genjutsu from Naruto and which one of the two is truly better. But Tempest, what about the Infinite Tsukuyomi? Assuming they fight in a place with the moon, the Infinite Tsukuyomi still wouldn't work, or Madara will probably lose before he's able to cast a Genjutsu in the first place due to the humongous gap and difference in power between Madara and Aizen. However, with that being said, I hope everyone has a nice rest of their day. Make sure to join the Discord server in the pinned comment and description down below, and also subscribe as I am trying to reach 10,000 subscribers. As I said at the beginning, you can always subscribe if you feel the need to. However, make sure to have a nice rest of your day or night. Make sure to stay and be safe. And till next time, bye.